Hey now, PD Grizz here. So today we're going to take a look at the Electro-Harmonics Bass Preacher. Yeah, man. You're going to get a real close-up view of it. This one just freshly off my floor. Look, it's even got some dandruff on it. How about that? That's how you know it's legit. Anyway, why are we going to look at this? This is not going to be a demo review. I'm not going to record some bass tracks so they can sound almost exactly the same and you can barely tell the difference because nobody puts on headphones anyway. And what I'm going to do is show you why you need to open this pedal up to truly unlock its useful potential. So what we're going to do is open this bad boy up. Whoa. And then I'm even going to try to work one of those fancy high-speed disassembly deals in. And no, we don't have to do anything electronic inside. It's just that you'll see in a second. I'd imagine most people never open up their pedals, but you'd be surprised how many pedals have additional features inside. So what's important about the inside of here is this trim pot right here. If you look at reviews of the Electro-Harmonic, the EHX Bass Preacher, you'll see a lot of people saying they had problems. It was noisy, that the output volume was low, that they would turn it up all the way and they couldn't get it to unity gain. You know, with even light compression on it, the output volume. I found this to be true. My compression is right about before noon, maybe about 11:30ish, and originally, when I got this, I would have the volume cranked all the way up, and it was just a tad under unity gain, meaning that when I turned the pedal off, it was louder than when the pedal was on. Unity gain, ideally, you know, most of the time, you want to have a pedal maintain the same volume. That's what this is. This is called the makeup gain. Through the act of compressing, you really lower the volume of everything. You bring up the volume of everything to amplify the quiet parts, and then you chop off the loudest parts, basically. So this amplifies noise. So if you don't have the input gain adjusted correctly, you will never get the proper signal to noise ratio, if you want to look at it that way. Basically, you're going to be amplifying more noise before you actually get to the optimum range where your signal is strong enough that the noise stays quiet in the background. And that's why this little trim pot is here. Now, this red mark is my mark. That's where it was from the factory. You got to keep in mind, you got to look at this pot as if you're looking at the bottom of a normal pot. So imagine you flip this around and we're looking at the back of that pot. So this is going to turn the opposite direction. To turn the volume up, you're going to turn it counterclockwise. To turn the volume down, you're going to turn it clockwise. The opposite of what you think, because really this pot is facing that way. This is the back of the pot for our purposes. So you see, I've turned it down about that much. And that little turn, you know, not even, you know, probably an eighth of a turn, if that, 16th of a turn maybe, was enough to take it from where my volume went from being here and not hitting unity gain to unity gain right at noon. So what I see, and what this did was it made my sound much more present. It drove the amp and my pedals harder. My pedals sounded better. And also the noise was much more tolerable. I don't care how good the compressor is, the active compression. If you have a high gain setup and you've got compression mixed in there, noise is going to be a constant factor. So you just have to figure out how you want to deal with it, like a noise gate, or you just let it ride, because if you're playing, you won't hear it anyway. So, yeah, so what's a shame is that EHX chose not to disclose this. I could see why. It's a very sensitive control. they probably could have used a multi-turn pot. If you know what a multi-turn pot is, it's a pot that rather than just having one turn be the whole sweep, it could turn multiple times, maybe 10 times before it goes from 0 to 10, basically. So you can make smaller adjustments with larger, you know, a bigger turn of the knob makes a very small adjustment. So for things like this, where they set it at a very safe level where it would be okay with hot output active basses wouldn't overload it and clip, is what they did. So when you have like a passive bass or a bass that has a lower output, it just doesn't drive the input hard enough. So what that means for your compression is that you're not, you either have to set the threshold much lower, which you don't have that option here. Basically, as you raise the sustain knob, it's kind of increasing the ratio and increasing the, you know, dropping the threshold at the same time, giving you a harder compression, basically. And this is your attack. And your release is basically fixed, you know, in proportion to this knob. So this compressor will do everything you need, but you need to know about this little switch. If you haven't seen this pot, chances are you've been unhappy with this unit. And I tell you that once you change this, but what I recommend is you plug your bass in, no effects on, set these both at noon, and then adjust this and while you're playing, turn the pedal on and off and make tiny adjustments until you get to where it's a unity gain with the knob at noon. That'll give you plenty of room. If you want to boost, you could boost with it at that point because you have the extra gain here. So you could actually drive the signal a little harder if you want. But what it does, it raises the headroom of the signal and the noise stays at the same volume. When the signal's lower, the noise sounds louder in comparison because it's putting out a low output signal. You know, I'm not trying to get too complicated on it. I'm just trying to explain it in ways people understand. But I think this will be helpful for a lot of people. I posted about this on Reddit, and a couple people responded positively that this actually absolutely made a night and day difference in how this pedal responded to their bass. So if you've got one of these and weren't happy with it, give it a try. Or if you were considering this but were put off by the off reviews, keep this in mind. I mean, I see why they wouldn't just put this out there. I mean, Manny, one of the guys that works at Electro Harmonics, had originally tipped me off to this in a thread on the Talk Bass forums, because he at least used to regularly participate in there and answer questions, as did the guys from Tech 21 and Sansamp and all that. So it was cool to get answers right from the designers and manufacturers. And I had the Bass Battalion, which had the same compression circuit in it, and he told me about the trim pot inside the Bass Battalion that fixed that unit for me. So when I got this unit, I automatically knew to go in and check it out for that trim pot, because EHX just seems to like to do that. So yeah, man, if I tell you, if you set this up, this will be a great compressor. Totally serviceable. Yes, it doesn't have some of the more detailed functions. It doesn't have a dry blend. I only use this on a portion of my signal anyway, because I run a bi-amp setup, a parallel setup to 2 amps. So this is only on my clean signal. My dirty signal is basically compressed by whatever distortion's on it, whether it's a fuzz pedal or rat, whatever. You know, the distortion compresses it so much it's rarely needed to put a compressor before distortion, but it certainly helps even out my clean tone, which is the base of my sound. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope some of you find that useful, and let me know down below if you've got the brace preacher, if you've had this problem, and I'll see you in the next one. Petey Grizz out.